Hello guys, what's going on? Zach here and welcome back. Oh my, it has been quite a while, 3 to 4 weeks in fact, which is quite some time. For those of you who don't know, I've been moving house and been sorting out the internet. It's been a nightmare because, as usual, telecom companies, being them usual selves, being rubbish and delaying things by 3 weeks. We actually moved into our house 3 weeks ago and it's taken this long to get the internet sorted out and back again. But it's back now, and I'm really happy to be back as well. Really happy to be able to continue making videos, and looking forward to getting back into the swing of things with some new ideas and all sorts of stuff to come up on the channel. So yeah, I mean, we moved about 80 miles across the country, which really isn't that far. I mean, it's quite far if you're in the UK, but if you're in the US, for instance, 80 miles is probably not even the length of an entire state. So for us, yeah, 80 miles is quite far, but for you guys, you probably think it's just, yeah, it's nothing, which it probably isn't. So I thought anyway, we'd jump straight into things and do ourselves, look at our arena game here between two top players. Over to the sort of northwest of the map in the blue, we've got NC Pedro playing as the Japanese. Pretty sure this guy's a German player with the NC tag there, the German team. And over to the east of the map in the red, we have got POZ Edie. Very well known, of course, for his arena play. In fact, I think that's pretty much all he plays these days. In fact, all he ever has played, really. I remember he played a few full random games a while back, but he's still on arena. And the reason I chose this game was because, well, arena is kind of the land of the Wololo warriors. You guys, of course, being the Wololo warriors, I thought it's quite fitting to start things off with a Wololo warrior game, which would effectively be something to do with arena, because arena usually entails monks. So while these guys are getting up to the castle age and all of that good stuff, or even to the feudal age for now, we can pretty much be sure they're going to be fast castling. I'm going to just have things in a little bit faster speed on 75 here, thanks to being able to fast forward things in a nice way. It's great. But in the meantime, while these guys are getting sorted out and getting their economies rolling, I just wanted to bring up the forums and the website, which you probably heard about or seen on the video I did last about the ZeroEmpires.net new website stuff. I just want to encourage you guys to sign up to the forums, and there's quite a few reasons for wanting to sign up to the forums. You might be thinking, oh, forums, I don't want to have any part in that. But in actual fact, I think it would be really good to use those forums for a lot of things. My main intentions for those forums are for you guys to be able to upload recorded games for me to cast. I'd really like you guys to upload games from Age of Empires HD, Game Ranger, wherever you play, and just upload them to my forums so that I can cast them and you guys can actually submit them directly to me. I think that's going to be one great use of the forum. But also, I almost forgot this initially when I started to talk about this. The forums at the moment, I've got a competition running. Anyone who signs up to the forums and has 5 posts by this Sunday will win, well, not everyone, one person will win a copy of Age of Mythology Extended Edition, which is available on Steam now. So one lucky winner is going to win Age of Mythology Extended Edition simply for signing up and taking part in the community, and that's what it's all about. Really want to have a really strong and fantastic community over on the website ZeroEmpires.net, and for all of you Wololo warriors to get involved and have some influence, I suppose, on the channel by submitting games and all of that good stuff. So I've got a lot of plans for that. The website as well, lots of articles going to be going up on there, including some already that have been put up, such as the interview with Jan, the AOF graphic designer, and Cision as well, who has done an interview with me, or I've done an interview with him even, on AOF stuff on the website. So definitely check that out, link in the description as usual, and all of that good stuff. And yeah, these guys nearly up to the castle age. Pedro nearly clicking up. Edie already clicked up. That's quite a nice speed for him. Pedro lacking his market at the moment, but once that's built, there we go, he can click up as well. And Eddie's going to be the first one up, so we'll keep an eye on what he does. So other upgrading, just wanted to point out as well, stuff coming up on the channel. I definitely want to keep doing some video tutorials. They seem really popular. In fact, the Zero to Hero tutorial series has brought in over 1,000 new subscribers to the channel, which means that 1 in 30 of you guys came to the channel because of the Zero to Hero videos. So I kind of owe it to you to keep making them and to keep doing tutorials, stuff like that, just so that you're getting what you came here for. That's what I really want to do. So yeah, definitely going to be bringing those up, and more good stuff as well. What happens if and all of that jazz, but mostly just expert games and your games that you send in. So there we go. They're up to the Castle Age. I managed to fill 14 minutes of in-game time with fluff, and there you have it. Eddie's up, and Pedro is nearly up as well. And let's see what they're going to do. I actually haven't got Pussywood on. You probably noticed that. That's just because I haven't got around to putting it back on. I removed it to do some scenario design stuff. But I'll get that back on eventually, I'm sure. And Eddie's sticking up the monasteries. Wololo Warriors represent. Eddie's in the house, and 3 monasteries. Jesus, are you going to put a third up? 2. I've seen 2 quite regularly, but 3 is something else. There we go. Third monastery going down on that left-hand side, and Eddie's starting to make those monks. He's got a couple of relics on his side of the map actually, which is really nice. He will be able to secure them very easily, especially as he's putting his monasteries in front of them. Pedro, 2 relics on his side, pretty nice. Going to be easy for him to take, I imagine, though he is slower up to the Castle Age. So Eddie likely to have that monk out first, and therefore more likely to get the relics in first as well. Wow, nice one, Eddie. A little quick block there to stop that scout dying. Really well done. But over on this right side, there's another relic, which is in Pedro's... Well, I want to say Pedro's control. It's closer to Pedro. So I think Pedro's probably going to be able to secure that one. But Eddie may end up getting... If he goes straight for the ones out front, he may end up getting these ones first. In which case, Eddie may be sitting on 4 relics, which is quite impressive. And I like this. He's turning things around just by healing up his scout. Good stuff indeed. Going to chase Pedro away, get off of my doorstep, and chase him back to base. So, both of them, adding in those monasteries. In fact, we've got Pedro adding in a third as well. And if we have a look at his Fog of War, we can see that he sees that Eddie has the 3 monasteries. So he's going to just try and hard counter that by, well, 3 monasteries of his own. Well, it's not really a hard counter. I guess a monk is almost a counter to anything, providing it can convert it. But another 4th monastery going for Eddie now. Wow, okay. So these relics obviously coming in for Eddie pretty quickly. I'm surprised he didn't go for the ones over here on the left. Perhaps he doesn't know where they are. We will find out now. Nope, he sees them. I'm very surprised he's not gone for them, actually. He's going for this one, right up in the north. So that makes a lot of sense. And now this is kind of a big deal, because if these guys are starting a bit of a monk war, which is pretty evident at this stage, securing those relics is going to be really crucial. Being able to actually get those relics in and be able to, keep the gold coming in, to keep those monks coming out, that's really important. Stressing that one a lot by adding all those extra reallys. Eddie probably going to get all 5 at this rate, and it's a good job this is not going to be not standard victory. This is going to be conquest. Otherwise Eddie will just win a standard monk, well, not monk, relic victory, which is quite impressive. So there we go. Eddie, 3 relics in already, a 4th one on the way, and the 5th one about to come in as well. That is a huge advantage for him. I can't even stress how much of an advantage that is. That's massive. At the moment, though, he's got, wow, a ridiculous amount of villagers on gold already. He's got 5 villagers on the food, and about, what's that, 3, 6, 9, 10 villagers on wood. Of course, he needs that wood for the monasteries. He needs it for the siege workshop here as well. And he's going to need a ton of gold, because every time he makes a monk, that's going to be, from all 4 monasteries, that's 400 gold. And that's very expensive. He's also going to need that gold, of course, to add in some siege. And Eddie is off to a fantastic start. Pedro looking pretty bad at this stage, to be honest, and we've not even seen much action, which is quite impressive. So Eddie's got all 5 relics. 3, 4, 5. and he's going to be pumping out those monks like there's no tomorrow. Pedro definitely seems to be lacking some monks at this stage. What's he got? He's got 3, 4, 8 monks on the field. Eddie with a good 9 or 10 at this stage, so he's definitely ahead, and it says so in the scores as well. The battering ram coming in now also, and he's going to start working on taking down that wall, that stone wall, which is preventing Eddie from walking in and kicking some butt. But Pedro putting up his siege workshop, definitely going to be wanting to get out some mangonels or something along those lines to help defend. Going to be trying to mangonel down these battering rams, but he's really late on getting the siege workshop up in comparison to Eddie here, who's already battering away at his walls with those rams. Pedro, just looking at his economy, he's definitely got a little bit more on the food, a little bit less on the wood in total, but look at all that gold income. There's tons of it. Eddie as well. In fact, they're going to be mined out of their main golds very quickly. Both of them will have done gold mining research, and Eddie just doing Sanctity as well, which is adding extra HP to his monks. They are equal on upgrades, I believe. But that Sanctity upgrade only really useful if you're up against like other military aside from monks, military that's going to do damage to you directly to add those extra HP. But here we go, a little bit of a monk war coming up, and Pedro's moving forwards with his monks now. Now I usually find if you're the one doing the aggression, that it usually ends up being a little bit more difficult to get in there. But if you catch your opponent off guard, like Pedro kind of has here, getting quite a few conversions already, that's a pretty good start for him. The problem is, Eddie's in, and he's starting to take down these monasteries, and if Pedro loses the monasteries, that could be really, really bad news for him, as he's going to lose that production, that production of monks, which is so vital in this monk war. Eddie may just get this one down, and Pedro's not attacking these battering rams at all. He's just leaving Eddie to it, but he does seem to be winning this little battle on the front here. He does seem to have a few more monks, but the problem is, as they start getting converted, it gets more and more difficult to figure out who has the most monks after all, because they all just get kind of mixed up and jumbled up, and it just gets very, very messy. Pedro there deleting his walls, because he didn't accidentally delete a monk, and bringing in some villagers now to take down these rams, because he's down to 3 monasteries, and that's pretty bad news for him. Eddie, on the other hand, he's about to go up to 6 monasteries. There's the 6th just going up, and Eddie's got a ton of gold. And so has Pedro at this point. He's not able to spend it as he loses his 2nd monastery. So Eddie at this stage, he should be able to just walk in here and do huge damage. I mean, he's trying to take down these monks with the mangonel here, of course. In fact, that's actually a really good point. Sanctity, going to be able to make these monks resist a mangonel shot, doing 40 damage against the 45 health of the monk. Mangonel instantly less viable, less useful. But yeah, I mean, Eddie should just be able to come in here and start doing some big damage. I mean, he's taken down 2 monasteries from Pedro. He should have the monk advantage. It's just how well he micros it now. It seems to me like Pedro Pedro got his own ram out here. I thought maybe he'd convert one, but he doesn't seem to have that tech yet. So just working on taking them down with his villagers for now, and getting those monasteries back up and running. But Eddie really should have the advantage, but I'm surprised that he's not really able to push it much more at this stage, though Pedro's monk numbers do seem to be dwindling slightly. This is just one huge shouting match, effectively. You've got the red guys telling the blue guys that they should be red guys, and you've got the blue guys telling the red guys that they should be blue guys, and in the end nobody wins. This is ridiculous. The funny thing I find about this is that Eddie's monks are the Christian monks, and Pedro's monks are also the Christian monks, but they're playing as the Japanese, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But then they're just converting each other to the same religion anyway. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, really real stalemate here, and Eddie's getting out more monasteries. He's just not stopping, and these main gold piles, as I say, are going to be mined out pretty soon, and it's going to be really important to secure some extra gold. Wow, Pedro's gold here is so oversaturated. 3 mining camps on that. He's got 2 more back here though, which is very useful. He's also got one out to the front of his base, which is also really handy for him. Edie has one over here on the south side of the map and at the north of his base, but it looks like Pedro's in a better position in terms of gold, to be honest with you. He certainly seems to have a little bit more gold to hand at any rate, and that could be useful to him if the game goes to the long game. I guess we'll have to wait and see, right? This is just ridiculous. It is very, very stalemate. Edie, though, definitely getting the score lead at this stage. These mangonels are able to do a little bit of damage here. I don't know if Pedro's now able to convert the siege or not, but if he is, then the mangonel may get taken down. It seems like Pedro's just trying to get his villagers in there as well for some extra damage output. And Edie, I don't think he can get his mangonel in. I mean, he needs to get the mangonel in to take these monks down. And if he can do that, that would be fantastic. But I don't know what he's doing. He just... Oh, man. What happened there? Oh, it was the battering ram. Oh my god. I don't know what Edie was doing with that mangonel. That was just ridiculous. He should have had it back here and started attacking these guys that were clustered up. It doesn't seem like Pedro can convert siege yet, so that's a really big deal. But if we have a look at their ecos, it's just ridiculous. There's nothing on food. In fact, Pedro has 0 villagers taking wood at this stage. Edie has quite a few more villagers on the wood, but absolutely no villagers on food. This is pretty much as all in as you can possibly get. He's literally just taking gold and just taking wood, and he's trying to pump out those monks as fast as he can. Somehow, though, I don't know how, Pedro is managing to keep up with Edie here, and he's only got 5 monasteries, which is quite impressive when you consider that Edie has 6 or 7 now, maybe even 8. I don't know how he's doing it, but Pedro is holding on in there, and maybe it's literally just his monk micro being slightly better at this stage. I find it amusing how he's got these villagers in here, just kind of standing around, trying to kill some monks where they get the chance. But this is it, guys. Competitive AOC at its finest. An absolute stalemate of monks shouting at each other. Fantastic stuff. I'm going to speed things up slightly here, because I don't know how long this goes on for. Potentially quite a while. I'm very surprised, you know, that Edie hasn't been able to push an advantage here. He's got a huge score lead, 500. He's got more monasteries, he's got more gold in the bank, and he's got a higher population as well, which says to me that he should be getting these conversions, and he should be able to, you know, push in there and start taking Pedro out. But Pedro, somehow, is hanging on in there, and he is holding on. But his monks just seem to be dwindling slightly. I don't know if it's the use of these villagers or something, but Eddie's really not been able to do too much damage with his mangonels, and I think that's kind of the big deal here. But this is crazy. Eddie's population 114, Pedro on to 78, and both of them just going all at it. Non-stop monk micro, and that's about all. Pedro's main gold completely mined out now, moved on to his second and third. Edie mined out of his first gold as well, and in fact he's a little bit slow to react because he's now out of gold entirely. He's going to go take this gold at the front of his base, but he's not actually making any monks for the time being, which means that Pedro may just start to catch him up slightly, whilst Edie has a dry spell of gold. Whether or not that's going to affect things too much, we'll have to wait and see, but I've got a feeling that Pedro may be able to actually get a few more conversions in here whilst Eddie's dried up on gold for a moment. He's actually, yeah, wow, he literally did. He just got those extra conversions in now, and he's on, oh wait, never mind, I was looking at the wrong person. But he is catching up slightly in population, 95 compared to 117, and let's not forget as well that Edie here is actually population capped, which is a huge deal, which means he cannot make more monks from his monasteries. He's capping himself, he's stopping his own progression here. As with everything else, well, this is just monk micro madness over in the center of the map. It's ridiculous. I mean, nothing has moved. The battle line has been here from the 15th minute to the 40th minute, and it looks set to stay that way until someone manages to pull it off and someone manages to rack up some more of those monk conversions, which is, let's be honest, nearly impossible to achieve when you've got equal numbers. So Pedro's just holding on in there. he's doing alright for now. Edie definitely still seems to have some advantage, though the score gap has changed a little bit. And Eddie's gold income seems to be running pretty low. I don't know how many villagers he has at this stage. Let me have a quick look. Now, let's see. It's been a while since I've done this. I can't remember how you see. Well, it's in there somewhere. But let's not forget all along that Edie has had these 5 relics as well, which has definitely been helping him out somewhat. Those relics certainly piling up his gold stocks, which probably means that he's got a little bit lax on taking gold in all, and seems to be fairly low on gold all the time. His monasteries are actually quite idle for a lot of it, whilst Pedro is actually taking a lot of gold here with these villagers, and well, Eddie's still got the advantage, but Pedro is narrowing that gap. He's now nearly equal to Eddie in score, and this conversion war is just never ending, it seems. It is never ending. Pedro as well, not taking any food at all at this stage. Not taking any wood. Literally everything he's got on him. He's got a few wood villagers down here, but pretty much everything he's got is entirely on gold at this stage, and it looks like it's getting very close. They're both on about 130 population. Eddie on 137, Pedro on 130, and I think these wood villages are literally just to make houses at this stage, as these guys keep piling in more and more monks, so they just continually try and convert each other back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In actual fact, a lot of these monks from Edie are at 100% faith, which means they're not being used as well as they could be. Pedro's got quite a few at 100% as well, but just generally clicking around and having a look, it seems to me like Pedro may be making slightly better use of his monks here. There's quite a lot from Edie with 100% faith, which is what you don't want to see. Obviously, they are ready to make a conversion, but they're not making it, and that could be giving Pedro the advantage here in terms of numbers. And in fact, yes, Pedro is up to 140 pop compared to Eddie's 136. But the thing I don't understand here is that Eddie has 1,000 wood in the bank, yet he's still getting population capped. He's still taking gold, so he could still be adding monks in. But the fact that he's population capped, I don't understand. He's got so much wood. He should just be plonking down loads of houses at this stage. I think as well, market is definitely something that could be used here, though I think they're definitely going to be using their gold reserves first. Pedro now out of his 2nd and 3rd gold pile, so he's going to have to move out here to the front and maybe even down here as well. But they're not really selling a whole lot at the market. Wood has been sold. I'd assume that Edie sold some wood there to get some extra gold in. But other than gold, there's not been a huge wood. There's not been a huge amount of stuff being sold at the market, which is quite an important thing here. But 143 population for Pedro, 141 for Edie, and it's pretty much neck and neck still at 44 minutes of Wololo warrioring. It's just so stupid. It really is. What has this game become? I don't know. I'm just trying to see any developments at all that could be, you know, leading towards a change in the way that this game is going to go. Eddie still not taking a whole lot of gold, to be honest, but he's got so much piling up thanks to his relics. I'm just surprised that Pedro's managed to hang in there. 143 to 147. Pedro's gold reserve's getting pretty low, in fact. And once again, I'm going to speed things up. He's not actually noticed that these villagers have gone idle, which is why his gold has got so low. He's definitely going to want to keep a close eye on that, as stopping monk production could be the end of the end. Both of them just trying to keep these monks working and keep them converting as much as they can. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Wololo football thing. It was like a scenario that someone made for Age of Empires 2 HD. Wololo football is great practice for getting conversions in. But very few people would imagine they would see this in an actual game. Pedro now a good 10 population higher, and I think, you know, transferring his focus for a moment to getting those conversions could have been a very good bonus for him. Moving now down to take this gold at the bottom of the map, a little bit awkward, very blocked by the trees, but still taking those gold piles in. And this is still not moved the entire game. At 50 minutes now nearly, they are completely, well, pretty much neck and neck still. Let's have a look at the general score. Pedro with a 300 score lead. That's pretty nuts. 20 population higher as well. Edie now adding in that mangonel. But, wow, okay. Pedro, or whoever it was, I don't know, I can't keep track because they convert it too quickly. But the mangonel, not really making a huge amount of difference at this stage. I think there's just too many monks, and the monks are just going to get the conversions anyway. They have to fire 2 shots in order to be able to actually kill anything. So it's a little bit ridiculous to be using the mangonels, I feel. They're really not doing a whole lot. Pedro trying to use one down here, but it's just going to get converted before it even kills a single monk. But Eddie's able to get in here and kill some villagers on this gold pile, but not before Pedro converts it back. So there you go. And then it's just back and forth until someone finally kills the mangonel. But Pedro there getting a couple of monks. That's definitely good. Before Edie, of course, converts it back and gets a couple of monks back as himself. It's just non-stop. It's absolutely crazy. 167 population for Pedro, 162 for Edie. And if you consider that every single one of these monks cost 100 gold, there's about 8,000 gold worth of monks on Eddie's side, and about 8,000 gold worth of monks on Pedro's side, maybe even more in fact. I'm not very good at counting how many units there are. It's probably about 20,000 gold's worth of units here in total, which is kind of ridiculous, and still, they have not moved for the entire game. Wow, the populations are still so close. Edie seems to be pulling back slightly once again. Pretty much neck and neck this entire time. And Edie once again population capped. He's got 3,000 wood in the bank, and I don't understand why he's letting it pile up like that. You know, he could be taking some stone instead. He could stick up a castle, which might help him push in. He could take the stone and sell it at the market to get a little bit more gold so he can keep making more monks, whatever floats your boat. But I think letting all that wood pile up kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense at this stage, and he could certainly be using it for some other means. What is going on over here then? Not a whole lot. There's absolutely no eco aside from gold and wood, and then the rest is just monks. So yeah, I really don't even know what to say anymore. I'm just like, well, that's it. This is AOC at its finest. The highest level AOC you can find. That's it. It's over. Man. One thing to note though, Pedro's been pushed away from this gold now because of this mangonel. No one's actually killed it. They've just been converting it back and forth the entire time. But population-wise now, Pedro's a good 20 ahead, in fact, and that's pretty unusual. Wouldn't expect him to be getting 20 population ahead at this stage. Eddie's going to try and bring that back, but the thing is, it's kind of like a cumulative effect. Once you kind of start getting a lead in terms of monks, you're going to push that lead more and more and more, and it kind of exponential monk growth kind of thing. You're just going to be getting a lot more overall kills or conversions once you get a big advantage in numbers. But someone needs to kill this mangonel. It's just getting converted back and forth, and then it's just doing so much damage. Well, it's not doing so much damage, but there we go. Pedro's coming in now to try and convert that, not convert it, to kill it even. And he's getting quite a few kills. Oh, this could be huge if he gets another one here. Oh man. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But Pedro now adding in a few farmers, it seems. I noticed his food starting to creep up. In fact, we have a look at his food. He's very close to Imperial now. He's nearly got 800 gold. He's nearly got 1,000 food. He just needs a little bit more, I imagine, from over here. I'll be very interested to see what happens in this situation now. Eddie though 154. It's kind of starting to snowball in Pedro's favor. 186 population for Pedro, 157 for Eddie, and Pedro's just clicked to the Imperial Age as well. 1 hour Imperial Age upgrade time. That's pretty impressive. And well, what does the Imperial Age mean? It means monk upgrades. And what do the monk upgrades mean? Well, much easier conversion. You can give them +3 conversion range, which means that these guys back here are going to be able to hit everything, no problem. You can give them, is it Theocracy? I think it's Theocracy, where you can group them together and you can just right click, and it doesn't matter if you select more than one monk when you make a conversion, because they won't lose their faith. Only one monk will lose its faith. So that helps monk micro massively, and being able to micro your monks more effectively with those researches make them extremely powerful in this kind of situation, because Pedro is just going to be able to get more and more conversions. He's already started that snowball now, almost 50 population ahead. He's about to hit 200, and he's about to hit the Imperial Age as well. He's really not too far away now, and he's grouping these monks up, microing his ass off, quite literally, and 201 population, flitting around that number as Eddie's on 150. It seems like he's unable to keep those monks coming out, and Pedro now may even get himself way above in terms of numbers. There we go, there's Theocracy, Illumination coming up, block printing as well, so that's going to give him the extra range. It's going to give him the extra, well, the bonus of not losing faith if he group converts. And I think Pedro may just be able to push his advantage now. Once he gets those researches in. There's Illumination. Theocracy's just about done. Block printing already finished, and now we should see that difference. Eddie on 160 pop, Pedro on 205, and that number likely to just increase because he doesn't have to micro his monks as hard as he did before. And there we go, 211, 214, 15. It's just going to keep going up and up and up and up now, because Eddie's just not going to be able to convert them back. And there's the GG. Eddie resigns. And what a game. What a game. That was just so stupid, but so fun at the same time. The entire hour, the battle line did not change from here to here. It was just this area entirely. Eddie there just getting overwhelmed by those Imperial Age technologies for Pedro, from Pedro even. And I'm surprised Pedro managed to stay in there, to be honest with you, with Eddie having those 5 relics. If this had been on standard victory, Eddie would have won the game many minutes ago. But unfortunately for Eddie, it was on Conquest, and Pedro managed to pull ahead there in the end. But I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, I thought I'd bring you guys an arena game as the first game back. Obviously something a little bit lighthearted, something a little bit ridiculous, and something to ring true to the Wololo Warriors. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, check out the website, and links and all that in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.